Hi guys, how are you doing? It's Marc Gallagher. I am a ukulele player and musician now based in Crewe, Cheshire. I have been talking about me having to do a house move for a good while now. I got my 2 months notice recently, and finally, after a lot of palaver, I now am based here in Crewe. And as part of moving everything, I had to reset this studio. And I thought I'd take this opportunity to go through my process of like building a music film studio thing from scratch. And I wanted to kind of take you guys on the tour with me. So yeah, stick around and I'll be showing you all the nooks and crannies of how I kind of sorted this place out. So the first thing to mention about it is that this place is absolutely huge. This room is about 4 meters, 4 meters 30 by like 3 meters 80 or something of those lines, and it is a ridiculously large space. And it's a case of, Mark, why have you taken this big room and not had your bed here or something? And the truth is, like, initially I thought I was going to use like my smaller room, but at my older place in Manchester, I used to have like 2 rooms. One was a downstairs reception for my instruments, and then I had the studio, which was upstairs. I wanted to take the biggest room so I could combine all of those into just one space, so all the music is here, and then I've got the rest of the house for the rest of my life, you know, for other things that are outside of music, outside of work. So that's why I kind of had it in this space, and it's wonderful that I have managed to collate everything, and yeah, it's absolutely delightful. So the first thing I want to show you is what I currently have directly in front of me that you guys don't necessarily see. My computer is an iMac. I think I got it 2021, 2022, and I have an extension monitor on this. I do this because when I use Pro Tools, I like to have the mix and edit windows both available to me without having to toggle between the two. It's also useful when it comes to when I'm teaching a student and if I want to have a Zoom call and also share my screen showing something like sheet music or what have you. It's nice to be able to see both of those things at the same time. I've got my little microphone. Today I am using a AKG C414 TL2. I also have my control surface on the right, which is this Icon Qcon. It allows me to have a tactile control of my mixes when I am working in Pro Tools. I also have an Amazon Echo, which I use to control the smart features in the house. I also use it to play music for my own amusement and leisure, or I can play some mixes on this speaker to see how it translates. Everything is going through this Focusrite interface. It's an 18i8, 18 inputs and 8 outs. I don't use all of them quite just yet, but it's something I'm quite looking forward to trying to do. My studio monitors are, the whites are Yamaha HS8, and then the middle ones are Mackie MR5s. They're 5-inch ones. I tend to favor the Yamaha monitors because they're a bit more open, a bit more clear. I often use the Mackies as reference monitors to check just the bass. They're often really bassier, so I often use them just to like reference and check. When I'm teaching and streaming and filming content, I have this little Canon EOS M3 mirrorless camera that is connected into my system. I've got a little ring light as well for that. Also worth mentioning on the subject of like streaming, I also have my Switch dock, so when I wish to stream, I am able to. And then we take things on a little further. Next to my Focusrite interface, I've got the mixing desk, Mackie Pro FX8. I have this going out into the first 2 inputs of my interface. The reason why I use the mixing desk instead of going straight from my mic into the interface is because I want to have compression and I want to have control of reverb for if I'm live streaming music. And it's handier for me to do it this way so far. So this rests on top of this little rack. Looking at my rack, the first unit is a compressor. That's what I use on my mixing desk, just up top. I got a little drawer. It was just I had some space to fill, and having drawers is much handier than just using like blank rack fills. I then have some preamps to use for my other inputs on the interface. I've got two Golden Age Pro 73, so they're like Neve 1073 emulation type thing. And then we have my personal favorite of the preamps is the ART Pro MPA. I love this and I've been using it a lot. As a result of having these preamps with the connection on the back, I use a patch bay just to make sure these are all connected to my interface, and then I can easily patch in without having to go around the back of the unit. Just to the side of where I'm sitting is my piano. It's connected via MIDI primarily, but sometimes I will, if I need to record and I want to keep the sound of the piano itself, I will patch that in directly to my interface or preamps. The set at the back, I've got this little cupboard which came from the old house, which I filled with lots of lights and trinkets. So things like I've got my melodica and £10 violin that I got from a pawn shop. I've spoken about that one before. I then have a bunch of ukuleles that aren't really playable, so I just covered them in a lot of like fake plants and fairy lights. I have more trinkets up in the form of like various instruments, a present that I got from my friend for Christmas, it's sort of like a toy guitar in the style of Tango, my favorite film, and then adding to the set is a couple of t-shirts that don't fit me anymore but I still wanted to keep. Anna McCannerite is a brilliant band from Germany, and Lexington, Kentucky when I went to the Ukulele Festival in 2019. I then just have a couple of little phone panels and a little garden gnome with a guitar that my mum gifted me. I don't think that's usually in shot when I'm normally filming, so I might have to change its location somewhere. We also have my guitar rack, so I have the Merlin Seagull dulcimer, the Pono ultra-long baritone ukulele, and then my guitars are a Takamine G series thing, Simon & Patrick SP6 Cedar, and then my electric guitars are Gibson SG, Fender Strat, Squier Telly, Gibson Les Paul, and then I got a couple of basses in the form of my Fender Jazz and Fender Precision bass. Moving on, we have my amps, Fender Stage 160 DSP with a couple of pedal boards, loop station, and the Boss ME8T. Going up to the bass amp, I've got a Fender Rumble 200 that goes into an extension cab. I have a collection of saxophones, three saxophones of those three main sizes, including also a little clarinet, which I seldom play. And then more importantly, my ukuleles. I've got my ukuleles taking pride of place here, and the radiator's never on, so don't worry, they're not going to be damaged by being up here. I recently got a filing cabinet as well to act as microphone storage. I'm going to get some foam insert just to give them a bit more of a neater organization and more accessibility. I also have a softbox which I'm going to use for lighting for things like shooting photos as and when the situation calls for it. Taking a look at acoustic treatment. So this is a slightly bigger room, so it presented more challenges in terms of like treating the room and making it sound nice and deadening it and taming the room tones that you will get with this place. So what we had, in terms of my desk setup, I brought it about a third of the way in. So this was a 4-meter room, so I brought it in like about like 1.30 m or thereabouts. I brought it in, I had tape measured it. Not only did I have it in for acoustic reasons, but also I need to have access to the back of like where I'm set up so that I can easily turn on my monitors, my camera, so I can easily patch things in and out. So I needed that like easier access. So that's why I brought my stuff like not into the center of the room, but slightly, not up against the wall. In terms of treating the space, I have a kit from Studio Spares which has all the blue panels on. Firstly, before I talk about the panels, I'll talk about my monitor placement. I used a couple of websites that gave like these graphs and measurements based on where you put your monitors and what kind of coverage you would get. So utilizing that, I brought my monitors about 1.25 meters in and 1 meter deep, and that, per looking at the graphs, that gave me a good guide. And then as and when I listen to more music here and do more recordings, I will adjust as necessary. Both of my speaker setups are in equilateral triangle shapes for me to get an accurate picture of the stereo field. And then, yeah, looking at my panels and the placement of those panels, it was the thing I found the most daunting. The first thing I did was put up some panels on my sides. They were just finding some reflection points. I also cleared space towards the behind the speakers. I managed to isolate that a little bit, as well as directly in the front wall just as I'm looking at it, just filling the space with what I could. I also have the 3 panels behind me to ease off on the reflections on the back, and then any other bits and pieces that I can get a hold of I have been using. And the plan is currently to get a diffuser, and also I want to get some treatment for the ceiling because that's bare at the moment and it's noticeable for me at the moment. So yeah, it's still a work in progress. I also have little acoustic tiles, the grey ones. I have been, in the past, I've stuck them on the ceiling, but I want to do something a bit more heavier duty for that situation. The grey tiles have instead been used on the walls around and at the back above the other panels, just capturing those. It's just taking off a little bit of top end and reducing some of those reflections. With me living in a rental property, it's paramount that I don't cause any damage to the walls. So unfortunately, for things like acoustic panels, I can't use them with nails or drilling holes into the wall. So the Studio Spare stuff, it is fiberglass that is just covered in fabric, and it's got this like open fiberglass on the back, which comes with these impaler hooks that go directly in. Rather than screw these to the wall, I utilize command strips on the back, and that is what helps secure my panels to the wall. But with that specific panel, I'm okay just resting it on top of the radiator and saving me the trouble. But the ones that proved more challenging were the ones that I have on my back walls. These panels were from a different company, and they don't have the same exposed fiberglass back. So the impalers are actually ineffective, and these are designed with being hung up by nails. Obviously that's not an option for me, so I've just had to utilize a couple of stands. I've got a lighting stand and I've got an old music stand, which is just propping those up. Eventually I hope to try and find a better solution, but it's working so far for now. I also put up some blackout curtains so that I can reduce the side light from the window. Also, it kind of works acoustically as well. It's really thick curtains, so it can be useful in an acoustic context as well as also the visuals. So yeah, and that is pretty much it. I've covered everything that I have in the studio and why. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to making more content here. I'm looking forward to recording videos, hopefully getting back into the game with collaborations, and also I'm looking forward to building up my network of teaching as well and recording my original music. I've got a lot that I'm hoping to do in 2024, and last year was not great, so this year I want to absolutely have an amazing time with my own music and with everything else in my career. So yeah, thank you for indulging me with this little studio tour, and hopefully you'll enjoy the content to come that I make in this very room. Until then, you can follow me on your social media of choice at Marc Gallagher Music. So that's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and the works, TikTok as well. You can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/Marc Gallagher Music, and you'll get access to various perks relating to my behind the scenes stuff. And yes, have a great day and keep on rocking.